Hi, I'm Danielle Blaze. Welcome to Knowing Your Town. And I'm here with Heather and Rose from the library and also from a committee for applying to open a charter school in Ashby, in the Ashby Elementary building. So we wanted to have this chat to update the town, the residents, on what we're talking about here, what's going on with the charter school application process. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So when we're talking about the charter school, I think one of the big questions is how definite is that? Like, are we definitely going to have a charter school in Ashby?
Well, we're definitely going to apply to have a charter school in Ashby.
Okay.
So the Massachusetts state government has a process by which charter schools are part of the process where it's part of the public school process where schools can apply to have a different form of public school education, and schools can apply to have a charter, and this is one part of the process. So we are going through the process to apply to have a charter.
Okay.
And we're going through the process of developing a charter, and DESE, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, has a process that you go through, and they can reject your charter.
Okay.
And they can approve your charter. So
Okay.
it is not definite that they will approve our charter,
Okay.
but if they do approve our charter, then yes, we will have a charter school here in Ashby.
Okay. And if they do approve our charter, when would we have a charter school here in Ashby?
September of 2027.
Okay. All right. So that's kind of we're going to apply right now. If everything goes well, 2027, we open a charter school. So what is the vision for this charter school?
The vision is to have an elementary school. We're going to apply from K to 8 is the idea.
Okay.
And it is to have an elementary to middle school in a Finnish forest school model.
Okay.
And that is a model. Finland has the best schools in the world. They do the best every year in a test called the PISA test, which is an international test. And their education system is considered the best in the world. And it is an education system that educates the whole person. It's an education system that enables the child to learn a great deal through play. It's an education system that really involves the whole body and enables children to really learn and prepares them very well for college as well as vocational careers. And it prepares them well for life as a whole, not just for preparing to do well on a test.
It seems like it really focuses on learning how to learn, as well as aligning with the math frameworks, which is required. There's a lot of outside time, a lot of movement, a lot of commingling the subjects. So kids really learn the reasons behind why you're learning a math problem, like how that applies to different areas. And so it really kind of sinks in. You're not memorizing facts just to memorize facts. This is going to help you in XYZ situation.
Yeah.
And it really allows children to learn at their own pace. So you don't have to be exactly the same as every other 7-year-old. You can learn, if you're faster in one thing, you can go ahead. If you're takes you a little bit longer to learn something, you can go a little bit slower. If you're more interested in one thing, you can spend more time with that. You can choose what interests you a little bit more, go a little deeper. Things are much more integrated, so you're not just spending time just doing math. You're learning science and writing and math all sort of together. So everything is a lot more integrated, a lot more put together. You're not just doing sort of one thing at a time. And the grades are more integrated. It's a very different paradigm than what we are doing here now.
Yeah. And full disclosure, like, I am part of this group that's like working on this. And it seems to me like this flexible model really would help kids to like feel like they're a part of a community, because they're not just with only the other 7-year-olds. They're seeing all the other kids at the school too, and they're moving together. They're doing things. It's hands-on learning, like experiential learning, and it seems like flexible to be individualized to each child's.
And that's been one of the really fun things about this group, is that we've got all sorts of people in this group. We have
It's not that's working on the charter
application. Right, the group that's working on the charter application. It's not just parents who have stake in this this effort. A lot of the people don't have children who are going to be potentially going to this school. Many of the people who are working on this effort don't have children who are going to be going to the school, are doing it just because they're interested in the process, interested in what this could bring to the community. People with all sorts of different skills who think that this is a really interesting, different way of learning, and would bring something to the community. So it's a model that seems to be engaging the imagination of a lot of really different, interesting people.
Yeah.
It's a really exciting process, I think.
Yeah.
And like, we definitely have people from, construction backgrounds, from mental health backgrounds, from library, restaurant backgrounds, previous school employees in various positions, and all coming together with this idea of, the public school system doesn't always work for every kid, and this is a really great option for those kids who can't sit for 6 hours a day. And it gives them that opportunity to move their bodies and learn in a different way that wouldn't work for all kids either. So it's a really, like Heather says, it's a really Goldilocks situation where, you can stay in the district if you want to stay in the district and that's working for your child, that's fantastic. But if it's not, then there's another option.
Yeah, so that's a good point. Let's talk about how a charter school works. Like, who gets to go to a charter school and how is that decided?
So a charter school is a public school, and without sounding too crass, sort of, the money goes with the child. So when a child goes to a public school, that money goes with them. So if they go to North Middlesex, that money goes with them. If they end up going to Monty Tech, that money goes to Monty Tech with them. Okay. So if they were to go to the charter school, that money, instead of going to the North Middlesex, if they were going to go to Spalding or whatever, the money that would have gone to Spalding would come to the Ashby charter school. So basically, the money just goes to a different building in the district. Okay. So it's basically just moving money into a different place in the same district. So as the taxpayer, it's the same cost to you. It's just going to a different place, just moving different money into a different spot. So just exactly like it would work if your child were to go to Monty Tech instead of going to the North Middlesex High School. Okay. And
one thing that DESE does is to help alleviate any funding concerns from the district, they reimburse North Middlesex for the first 3 years for each child that comes to the charter school. So
Okay,
that
so
they
North
have a
Middlesex-
3 years kind of a buffer period to say,
Yeah.
all right, to make numbers easy for this conversation, 100 kids moved to the charter school. So instead of losing 100 kids worth of funding for that year, for 3 years, they get that as well as the charter gets that. And that's state funded. That's not anything
Okay.
burdened on the Ashby taxpayers or the district taxpayers.
Yeah, so there's like, the charter school would be in Ashby, and who would be able to apply to go to the charter school?
So all the kids in the North Middlesex district would be able to apply to the charter school, as
Okay.
well as Fitchburg kids, because the way the way charter schools work is that in order to get a charter, the first 2 charters in any year go to a school with students who perform in the lowest decile of MCAS scores, so in the lowest 10% of MCAS scores.
Okay.
And Fitchburg and Gardner happen to be the closest communities to Ashby that are in the lowest decile. So we are partnering with Fitchburg because they're next door.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. And so our catchment zone would be Fitchburg as well as Ashby, Townsend, and Pepperell. And so those communities would be in our catchment zone. And those communities would be in the lottery.
Okay.
And if all of the seats were filled with those students in that community, those communities, then the school would be filled. If there were still seats left, then anyone could come to the school.
Okay.
So if there were still seats left over, someone from Ashburnham or Lunenburg or wherever could come to the school.
Okay.
And once one sibling is in, the following siblings are automatically accepted as well, so that
Okay.
the family units can stay together.
Okay. All right. So any kid in grades K through 8, if this works out,
Yep.
K through 8 in Fitchburg, Ashby, Townsend, or Pepperell could apply, and then when they apply, it's a lottery to select who of the applicants gets to enroll in the school.
Yes.
Yep, that way it's equal opportunity across all 4 towns.
Okay.
Um,
All right. Well, what about, let's talk about the building, the Ashby Elementary School building, because we know that it closed because there were some issues with the building and they need to be addressed in order to use it again. So, like, what's the plan? What's that all about?
So the Ashby Elementary School building is in reasonably good shape.
Okay.
It does have some issues, and we will be addressing those issues. There is a wing of the building, the 1950s wing, which is closed off, and we've spoken to Desi about that wing. And the building needs to be what they call, now I forget the word, but you don't have to use every part of a building for instruction.
Okay.
So you can have part of a building that isn't used for instruction. So you can have parts of a building that are just for storage or offices or something like that.
Okay.
So the fact that part of the building is not for students is acceptable.
Okay.
So the fact that that part of the building is not for student use is fine. But Rose and I have been talking about getting grants and looking at finding additional monies to rehabilitate that part of the wing, and have been looking at different things. And our group has actually just applied for a 501c3 to start applying for grants to get funding to get grants to do those kinds of things, because we'll have, about a year and a half to start looking at different grants and different ways to get funding to gear up to get the building and other things ready for the school. So that's one of the things that we'll be looking at.
Okay. Yeah, because like the vision for this charter school really came from having this empty elementary school building.
Exactly,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
That like the town needs to
Yeah.
do something with.
If you have empty buildings, it falls into decay. It costs the taxpayers money. It doesn't have a good look for a town just to have empty buildings, especially right on the main road. So that's kind of when towns start to die off, is when you have vacant large buildings. So we're really hoping we can turn this building into not only the charter school, but even a multi-purpose use space that will give our community a place to thrive instead of die off.
Yeah, and I understand there are other groups in town looking into other possible uses for the building too. So
yeah, that's how this all sort of started. I have a newsletter, so we were sort of talking one night at movie night at the library, and so I sent out a newsletter about it, and said, oh, we should do something with the building. So we sent out a survey, and most of the people said we should have a school, but not everyone said we should have a school. There was a small subset of people who said we should do something else. And a few people said we should sell the building, and some people said we should do some other things. And one of the things with one of the good things about a charter school is that you can do other things with the building as well. You can use the building when it's not being used as a school for other things. Some charter schools have wraparound programs, so they have like before school and after school. They have summer programs, they have weekend programs, they have yoga programs, they have basketball, additional sorts of programs. And one thing about Finnish schools specifically is they do a lot of like vocational education. They do a lot of handcrafts and cooking and all sorts of
really
different things.
Hands-on kind of
Lots
stuff.
of hands-on things. So I could imagine having like weaving in the building or pottery in the building or all sorts of things where potentially you could have evening classes in pottery or different sorts of things that it would be there during the day for the students, but then for in the evenings you could have adult classes in it or something like that. So there could be a possibility where the school could be there as a school during the day, but in the summers or the weekends or you could use the building for other things additionally.
It's like a really multi-generational type space, and could like rent out the kitchen because it's a health inspected kitchen. We have a lot of farmers in town. If you wanted to make something to sell, like jam or bread, you can't sell that if you're cooking in your own kitchen, but if you rent the kitchen out on weekends or vacations or nights or however it ends up being worked out, that you could bring your stuff, rent out the kitchen, make your products, and then you're able to sell your products at farmers markets or whatever else. So it really opens up a lot of business opportunity for the local townspeople as well.
Yeah, so part of the vision of having the building be used as a charter school is to have, educational, like a school resource for the kids, but also a resource for the community. And I imagine those, like the renting out fees would offset some of the costs of having the school.
Yeah, it definitely generates some income to offset some of those balances, and that's a possibility to even start before the charter starts. to renting out those types of spaces, and really kind of in that aspect, would we be covering all of the costs to the town while there's no school in it? No, likely not. But it could offset some of that burden on the town while the building is empty for a time period.
Right, that's a good point, because, I mean, you had said it before, but it probably bears repeating that having an empty building in town that the town owns does cost the taxpayers money to have this building.
And I think that it also would be an opportunity really to really engage the community in the building as well. Like, you know, to not just have an empty eyesore, but really to make it an asset to the community, not just to have a negative thing.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So we've talked about, like, we're in the application process for this. And if it all goes well, then in 2027 we would be able to open the school for kids to come. The process, like lots of bureaucratic processes, has a lot of steps and everything like that. Are we early, mid, or late stage process?
So we're in the very early process.
Okay.
I've been joking that this is like asking somebody out for coffee. So right now, we're sort of doing the initial, the letter of intent. So we're just sending that letter of intent to DESE saying, we would like to open a charter school. So right now, this is just a very basic letter saying, we're a group of people, this is our idea, this is kind of what we've been talking about right now. We've got a group of us together. We'd like to open this school. This is our basic framework. It's our basic idea. This is where it's going to be. Many people at this stage don't even have a building. Sometimes people will say, we'd like to open a school, but we don't even have a building yet. Many people at this stage don't have any money yet. They don't have a building yet. They don't have they don't have any idea of who would be running the building or any of that sort of stuff. So in some ways, DESE keeps telling us that we're kind of ahead of the game. So we're just kind of at that first date sort of element. So that's for June 1st. And then if you get past that stage, if you've picked sort of the right catchment zone, and DESE's like, okay, yep, you've got the right group, you can open, you can
Apply for the charter.
Thank you. You can apply for a charter for that group. You can write a charter. So then you can write this sort of massive initial charter, which is about 100-ish pages, which details in quite a bit of detail exactly your educational philosophy, what a day in the life of your students is going to look like, what your budget is going to look like, what your staffing is going to look like.
Okay, so the application, in order to submit it, you really have to get into the nitty-gritty and have all those numbers, answers, that stuff. So we're not there yet.
Not yet.
Right, but we are writing it now, partially because I misunderstood the word initial, but we have started writing that, and we've been talking to other people who have open charter schools in Worcester and in Sturbridge and some other places. So we've been doing some of that initial work.
Yeah, and we have support.
We do
to build this application, and if we have questions, we have people that we can ask.
Yeah, so we've been meeting at the library. A pretty big group of us has been meeting every other week, and we've got a Google Drive, and we've been doing a lot of reading and looking at documents and getting a lot of stuff done.
Yeah. So I guess that brings us to, like, if people are watching this and they feel inspired, like I did, to want to help out and be a part of this, like, is there a space for that? Can people,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
people join? Is it too late?
No, not at all.
No, never.
We're definitely, we don't know what we don't know. We've never done this before. So anyone with any, experience in accounting or, so many avenues that are needed, and even just fresh ideas. We will be meeting next week,
Yep.
which is the 21st, I believe, the Thursday. Our normal meeting time is at 7 at the library. If anyone wants to come and, put some input, ask some questions. The group kind of changes meeting to meeting, which is really cool, and it's a really good building community.
Yeah, no, it's a great group. And like even Desi says, you need people who are good at social media. You need people who are good at education. You need parents. You need lawyers. You need,
You need constructive criticism.
You need constructive criticism, although we do have Cliff. But no, just joking, Cliff. But no, you do need people to, really push back, because you need to know, like Rose said, what you don't know. And you can't know everything. And we don't want to be too in love with our own ideas, because we need to know where our gaps are.
Yeah.
Because
we wanted to succeed.
Yeah.
And I come from a restaurant background, and if you open a restaurant with no experience, you're not going to account for certain obstacles that set you up for failure.
Right.
And we don't want to set the school up for failure. So we want input. We want to know, not everything is rainbows and butterflies. We want to know your opinions so that we can look into those avenues. That maybe that's something we hadn't thought about, or maybe something we need to look into further, so that we can address those issues before we get too deep and to a point where we're like, oh no, we're in trouble. We didn't think about this. What now?
Right.
So
it's better to know up front than to have to backtrack.
Exactly.
And
so we're trying to really think about all those nitty-gritty details, which Desi is like, you're already thinking about that stuff? And we're like, yeah, why wouldn't we think about these things?
Right.
Especially in terms of special education, like being a parent of an autistic child myself, as well as Heather, that's a very important piece for myself, that we're really are diving into that. And Desi said most people don't even think about that till they're putting it in the charter because they have to, and we want it accessible to all kids and make everybody feel like they're getting a really good education.
Yeah, that's one thing I really like about the model, the Finnish model that we're using, is because it seems like a lot of those special education, socio or the social emotional kind of stuff is really baked into the model, the educational model for all students. And so it's not like you're different, special needs are special needs, but it's also helping
you almost
everyone.
don't feel singled out, a lot of kids do feel like if you're pulled out for certain things, which absolutely is necessary for, but if you're able to kind of shift to be with a group that are at your level,
that's a more normal thing in this model.
Right. It doesn't feel so, like a spotlight put on you, as my son had said. He felt singled out, being pulled out for a one-to-one or a small group lesson.
When
where
none of
if
the other
he
kids
could
are
have,
doing it.
where he could have maybe met with a group that was maybe an age group younger, and been at the same level as all of those children, and felt more in unison.
Yeah, like I kept sort of saying at the beginning that this treats humans like humans. Yeah, and it feels more like that, instead of treating humans like data points. It feels more, like it's treating small humans like they're small humans.
Yeah.
which seems like what schools should be doing, like
Yeah.
letting them go outside and poke at bugs and, get dirty and muddy and,
Yeah, there's stuff to learn outside.
Right,
with
yeah.
bugs and mud and dirt.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the things that as this goes through the process, we're going to need people who are really good, effective communicators, because when it gets closer to the end, we want to make sure that we're communicating effectively to parents that if they're getting into the lottery, that's what your kid is going to get. They're going to go outside. They're going to poke at bugs. They're going to get muddy.
Yeah, their
they're
shoes might be wet at the end of the day.
Yeah. Like, this is not the time to wear your pretty princess party dress. And, if you don't want your kid to get wind in their hair or, goo on their shoe, like, this isn't going to be the school for you. And we want to make sure that we're effectively communicating that this is a particular kind of school.
Thing. Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that there's a good match between people that are choosing this school as opposed to another school, because we just want to make sure that, people are getting what they're expecting.
Yeah.
Because I think that a lot of people will like this model, but we want to make sure that people who don't like this model are not going to choose it.
Yeah, no, I imagine there's a bunch of people who wouldn't want to get dirty.
Yeah.
and maybe this isn't the right choice.
And that's okay. And
that's totally fun.
That's the beautiful part about it.
Yeah.
Right, because it's an
choice.
Option of many.
Yeah.
Like, you can go to this, you can apply to this school, or you can go to the other schools in the district that are available.
Public school,
Yeah. And that's why we had such discussion about what to name it, because we wanted to make sure that we were signaling.
And we didn't even say what's the name.
Yeah.
We came up with the name Ashby Evergreen, and there was a lot of reasons behind that. The finished model that we're looking at is named Sisu, which means resilience, and I think that's a really impactful statement. That's what our town is. We're all very resilient people, and we want our kids to be resilient. So evergreens have deep roots. They're very resilient. It takes a lot to take them down. They're always striving to get bigger and grow bigger, and that's really kind of our vision for these kids, is to be very grounded, but also feel like they can reach the sky.
Love it.
Yep.
Ashby Evergreen
Charter School.
Evergreen Charter School.
Yep.
So the initials will still be AES, or AECS, but we don't lose that moniker that we've had for so long.
Yeah. All right. So if people want to learn more or get involved, you said that they could come to the meeting on Thursday evening at 7 at the library.
Yep.
If they can't make it to that, or if they want to have
Yep.
other questions.
You can almost always come to the library. Rose and I are at the library all the time. So you can come to the library anytime and speak to Rose or I, and we can get you up to date. You can also join our Substack. It's sisuashby.substack.com. You can also go to the new Facebook page, which is Ashby Evergreen. And that has the information. And there is going to be a new website, which is also going to be Ashby Evergreen, which Andrew's working on.
That's in progress.
Yep, that's in progress right now. And that will be linked to the Facebook page, and the Sisu, the Substack will put that out as well.
Okay.
And if anybody's
Substack
looking for that, Sisu is spelled SISU.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Yep. And that's just Sisu Ashby, one word, .substack.com.
And you could always email the library at any time. ashbylibrary@cwmars.org.
Yep.
We're happy to talk to anybody at any time.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, so bring your questions, your concerns, your enthusiasm, your involvement. I'm happy to talk to anyone about it. All right. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Awesome.